I'm just getting warmed up.
Clyde Shelton was a normal engineer living in Philadelphia with his wife and daughter.
I hope you're doing better than me, baby. What are you making?
Necklace for Mom.
One night, while making a bracelet with his little girl, two men broke into his house. Rupert Ames wanted to steal quickly, but Clarence Darby had worse plans. Clyde was hurt badly, he was beaten and stabbed, and he had to watch helplessly as Darby hurt his family. After they left, Clyde barely stayed alive. The police caught the attackers soon after. Clyde, still healing, believed the law would punish them. He met with a young, confident lawyer named Nick Rice, hoping both men would get punished. Nick promised to get justice, but the case fell apart. There was little proof. Clyde had fainted and there were no witnesses or clear evidence. The case was weak. Then Darby got a powerful lawyer. If they went to trial and lost, both men might be free. Nick made a deal. Ames would take full blame, and Darby, the worst criminal, got only 5 years in prison. To Clyde, this deal was an insult. The man who destroyed his family got away easy. Nick saw it as a smart move, but Clyde felt betrayed by the law, the system, and by Nick himself. At the trial, things went as Clyde feared. The judge said the evidence was not strong enough for a harsh sentence. Rupert Ames got 10 years plus the death penalty. Clarence Darby walked free with just 5 years. After the trial, Nick shook hands with the other lawyer and moved on. Darby, calm and confident, whispered something strange about fate. Nick ignored it. But Clyde could not forget. That moment broke him. The justice system had let the real criminal go easy. The man he trusted, Nick, chose a shortcut instead of real justice. Outside the court, Nick told reporters the case was a win. Darby, smiling as police took him away, thanked Nick quietly, like he had won. In the crowd, Clyde was silent, but inside his anger grew. That night, Nick came home. His wife welcomed him warmly, but Nick already felt guilty. This is the story of a man who lost everything and chose to take justice into his own hands. This is Law-Abiding Citizen. 10 years later, Nick Rice was living a calm life with his wife and daughter. That morning, his wife reminded him about their daughter's violin recital. But Nick had other plans. Rupert Ames was going to be executed, and Nick had to be there. He promised to watch the recital video later. His wife was not happy, but she accepted his choice. At the prison, Nick saw Ames brought in. Ames was calm but controlled. When asked if he wanted to say anything before dying, Ames said he never killed anyone and did not deserve to die. Then the execution started, but it went very wrong. The injection made Ames shake and convulse violently. Ames died while screaming. It was a terrible scene. This terrible death made people start an investigation. Experts checked everything about the execution and the injection. At first, it seemed like an accident, but then they found a fluid bag was tampered with. On it was written a scary message: "Can't fight fate." Nick was shocked. Those were the same words Darby said during the trial. Police rushed to Darby's home, but someone was faster. Darby got a strange phone call. The voice knew everything about him. About his drug problems, his past, even a young girl living with him. Darby laughed at first, but when he saw police outside, he got scared. The voice gave Darby a way to escape. He followed the instructions and found a police car waiting in a quiet place. Inside was an officer who was drugged. Darby got in, took the officer's gun, and forced the officer to drive. They were in an old warehouse outside the city. At the warehouse, Darby pulled the officer out of the car and pointed his gun at him. But then his phone rang. The voice on the phone was the same as the man in front of him. The officer was really Clyde Shelton. Darby tried to shoot, but the gun didn't work. It had been changed. A hidden needle injected poison into his hand. The poison was tetrodotoxin that made him paralyzed right away. He could not move, but he could feel everything. Clyde pulled him inside, tied him to a steel table, and locked him there. Darby could not scream or fight. He could only watch. Clyde gave him another injection to reduce the pain. Then he hung a photo of his wife and daughter near a mirror so Darby could see who he had hurt. A camera filmed everything. Clyde showed no feeling. It was the justice he planned for 10 years. When it was over, Clyde walked out calmly and disappeared. Later, police found Darby's body in the warehouse. It was cut apart very carefully. All signs pointed to Clyde Shelton. He owned the warehouse. Everyone knew what Darby did 10 years before. The police acted fast as SWAT teams surrounded Clyde's house. Helicopters flew above. They broke in, ready to fight. But Clyde did not fight. He stood calm and quiet with no weapons and no words. They handcuffed him and took him away. When he got into the police car, he looked straight at Nick Rice. That look said everything. The fight was not finished. Not at all. Inside Clyde's house, the police found the truth. For 10 years, Clyde had studied the law like it was a plan for war. His office was full of law books, case studies, and careful plans. On the wall was a photo of Nick Rice shaking hands with Clarence Darby. At the same time, at Nick's home, a strange package arrived. There was no return address. Nick's daughter thought it was her recital video. But when they played it, it showed videos of Darby being tortured. Nick's wife stopped the video in shock. She grabbed their daughter and called Nick scared. At the prison, Clyde asked for a new mattress as if he would confess everything. Nick did not agree at first, but after the video showed up at his house, he agreed. The mattress was sent. This caused trouble with the other prisoners, especially Clyde's cellmate. But Clyde still didn't talk. In court, Clyde spoke for himself. He calmly said the prosecutors had no strong proof. The judge was about to let him go until Clyde clapped loudly. He mocked the court and said the system was a joke. He said anyone smart could trick it. This made things worse. The judge sent him back to jail for disrespect. Later, Clyde made another deal. He would tell where Darby's missing lawyer was, but only if he got a full steak lunch with sides and an iPod with his favorite music. Nick was unsure because it sounded like a trick. But the lawyer was still missing, and time was running out, so he agreed. Clyde's special lunch was supposed to arrive at 1 p.m. But because of a delay in prison security, it came 8 minutes late. Other prisoners watched, shocked as Clyde was served steak, mashed potatoes, asparagus, and apple pie like he was in a fancy restaurant. Clyde ate slowly, enjoying every bite. Only after he finished did he say that the lawyer was under a bridge just a few minutes from the prison. Nick and his team went there right away. They found a suitcase buried near the bridge. What they found was horrible. Inside a hidden bunker was the lawyer's body. He had been trapped in a small space with little air, handcuffed next to an oxygen tank and a mask. The setup was cruelly timed. He would have survived if the lunch had arrived on time. But because it was 8 minutes late, the rescue was also late. Back in the prison, Clyde finished his meal calmly. He even offered some food to his cellmate. But suddenly, he pulled out a hidden steak knife and lost control. He stabbed his cellmate many times. There was chaos. Guards came running, and Clyde was sent to solitary confinement with strict watch. Nick visited Clyde in solitary. He tried to reach the man inside by giving him a bracelet made by Clyde's daughter. He wanted to remind Clyde of who he was before. But Clyde didn't react. He said his family was gone, and dead people do not feel anything. At the same time, Nick and District Attorney Cantrell started to think something bigger was happening. The killings were too precise to be done by a man locked in a cell. They looked into Clyde's past and found out he was once in the CIA. He was part of a secret black ops group. He was an expert in watching, sneaking, and killing quietly. He could be deadly even from prison. An old agent warned them that if they didn't stop Clyde now, more people would die. The next day, Nick and a partner met with a judge involved in Clyde's case. They wanted to find a way to stop the killings legally. But before they could finish, the judge took a phone call and suddenly died.
Sabina Judge, Mr. Rice, I can... Hello?
He was poisoned right in front of them. Nick was shocked he knew what this meant. Clyde had made his next move. The next day, Nick faced Clyde directly. He asked about the judge. Clyde didn't deny it. He gave a final warning to let him go by 6 p.m. or more people would die. The time was running out, but Nick and his team did not give in. They moved Clyde to a maximum security cell and ignored his demand. When 6 p.m. came, nothing happened. People started to relax, thinking Clyde was bluffing. Then suddenly, an explosion happened in the parking lot. A car with Nick's assistant and some co-workers blew up. No one survived. Nick was now very scared. He knew his family was at risk. He told them they were going on vacation, but secretly put police around them for protection. Clyde had shown he could attack anyone, anywhere. No one was safe. Meanwhile, at home, Nick found a newspaper clipping pinned to his wall. It showed him shaking hands with Clarence Darby. The message was clear that this was not just about revenge. Clyde had planned everything from the start. Filled with guilt and anger, Nick went to the prison yard and faced Clyde. He lost control and punched him, begging him to stop the violence. But Clyde did not react. He stayed calm and showed no feeling. Another officer was ready to shoot Clyde, but Nick stopped him. Killing Clyde now would not stop what was already happening. Nick walked away without saying more. Soon after, another attack happened during the funeral of Nick's assistant. As District Attorney Jonas Cantrell walked to his car, A hidden automated weapon opened fire. Seconds later, a bomb under the car exploded, killing him instantly. The city fell into chaos. People panicked, media crowded, and leaders were worried. Nick was tired and felt defeated. He thought Clyde was always ahead. But that did not last. After Cantrell's death, the mayor acted. Security became stronger, and Nick was promoted to district attorney. Now he had full power to stop Clyde by any way. The investigation moved faster. At first, they thought Clyde had help. But this idea ended when they found a bomb hidden inside a briefcase under the mayor's meeting room. The bomb squad stopped it just in time. Then they found a secret workshop in an old factory area. Inside, Nick found a strong tunnel going all the way to the prison. That was the answer. Clyde never needed help. He moved in and out of his cell through the tunnel, planning every attack himself. But now, things were falling apart. After the bomb was stopped, Clyde rushed back through the tunnel to hide his tracks. But it was too late. Nick was waiting in his cell. Clyde did not give up that he still wanted to destroy the system, even if he died. Nick left quietly. Moments later, a hidden bomb under Clyde's bed exploded, killing him. As fire filled the cell, he held the bracelet his daughter made, the last memory of his lost family. The story ends with Nick finally going to his daughter's recital. After all the pain and loss, he was there for what really mattered. So the moral of the story is, if a guy in prison politely asks for steak, side dish, and an iPod, he's not treating himself. He's timing the firework outside to mashed potatoes and smooth jazz.